UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had.
All right, guys, welcome in. It is Unpaved. I'm Sean Salisbury. Segs will be along in just a second. At Adam G. Stager on Twitter. I'm at Sean Unfiltered, and you can get this show, obviously. You're here. Share it with your friends. Like and subscribe to Unpaved Sean Salisbury on YouTube and on Rumble. Big things ahead for 2026. One big announcement. Hopefully, they'll be finalized next week that I've been talking about for a while. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a great way to start. It's still football season. I mean, really, when you really think about it, let's face facts. It's never not football season. There's still tons to talk about. Transfer portal people, colleges. Is USC's defense better? And why is Lincoln Riley bringing in Gary Patterson? Also talk about some problems going on in college football a year later, and it's serious allegations. I always guard against jumping in, but I always have the question, why did we wait a year? Why is it this long? Right or wrong, I'm always curious because I'm not part of the law or the investigation team. We'll hit on that too. Serious allegations that are really, they're going to be a problem for either side. And if it did happen, then you do have to throw the book at the player. And it also breaks the honor code, which is a big part of BYU. And we'll get into that, a key component to them and wide receiver, but life's more important than football in this. And we start, Segs. And I know you have a lot of questions on your mind. I'm pumped up about the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Last week we do the Findable podcast, which you can catch every single Monday starting next week. It's been on Wednesday, moving it to Monday afternoon on YouTube. I had Hideki Matsuyama winning it going into the tournament. You and I drive the golf ball better than he does. Maybe not quite as far, but I guarantee you we might hit it straighter. But that's for another whole comment. I'm pumped up because I love this tournament. But that's not for conversation here today. But you can catch the Findable podcast on YouTube with myself and Nick Bender, who is the founder of Grunk Dolphin. But Segs and I are here today. Segs, we're already talking about odds for next year. Who's the team? And I know you got a lot of questions to fire at me today, but I want to throw this out there for both of us. We all speculate on, okay, who's the next one? Who's the next Seattle, right? Who's the next New England Patriots? Struggle, fire the coach. Coach comes in, second-year quarterback, gets him in a Super Bowl, that kind of conversation. Now, a team that feels like they've been in the conversation, even when Bill O'Brien was there, close, but couldn't get over the hump. And now DeMeco Ryans 3 times in the playoffs, 2 of those division winners since he's been there, and built a defense that is Seahawk-like, is Denver Broncos-like, and they can argue that they have a better one. That argument. So the foundation, I guess, as we go in, are the Texans close? And I know you'll throw to some sound or the quotes we have from Manti Te'o, NFL Network analyst, right? Segs, he's on NFL Network. Is how close are they? And are they going about it the right way? And are they truly a February team right now with a piece or two? So I'll let you rip, Segs, but living here in Houston, we've had this conversation before with good defenses lacked offense or vice versa, or there's always one glaring problem with them. Yes. Offensive line's been part of it, depth at running back. They think they may have fixed that a little bit with Woody Marks, and who knows what's going to happen with Mixon down the road in his career, and also Nick Chubb. But the offensive line obviously has to be upgraded, but more importantly, the quarterback. Need an upgrade? or is he a Super Bowl caliber player? So that's the questions that'll be asked. And Manti Te'o thinks they're pretty close, right?
Yeah. It's interesting because, I spent time down there with you in Houston. I was down there about 7-ish years, and it was always that same thing you're talking about with the Texans. A lot of the time it was the offensive line. Deshaun Watson comes in. He got his ass kicked for the entire time he was in Houston. CJ Stroud has got his ass kicked the entire time he's been in Houston. All these quarterbacks that come in and, Davis Mills and company that fill in for the injured starter because they've got their ass kicked is getting their ass kicked because the offensive line just isn't good enough. Even when you went and spent all that draft capital on Laramie Tunsil, you put nothing with him. So it was just a really good left tackle that jumped off sides all the time. And then 4 guys.
And hurt his team, Sigs.
Yes,
and hurt his team regularly.
Yeah. And he kind of played down to the level of the rest of the offensive line, it felt like. And, I mean, even in Washington, he was good. So, yeah, they've always had this problem on offense where it seems like they have the quarterback, but they never supply him with an offensive line. And the weapons are always seem good enough, but never like, wow, that's a strength. So I look at this team, and Manti Te'o's talking about it, and he's saying, are they just a piece away, or do they need more than that? What should they do with Stroud? Here's what Manti Te'o had to say.
That you have over there in Houston, you just need an offense that won't lose you the game. You don't even need an offense that's going to win you the game. There's so many times that we saw last year, especially in the postseason, that it was a defense that kept giving you opportunities, not only giving you opportunities, but was saving you from bad opportunities. When you have a defense like what DeMeco Ryans has over there, you need an offense that just gets the job done and doesn't mess it up. And so if there's one team, guys, that I think is just one offseason away, just one free agency signing away, it's the Houston Texans.
I've been hearing that message for a while, Segs.
Yeah. And I don't know that there is that one free agent that they sign, and it's like, okay, everything's good now. It's not.
Yeah, well, people aren't parting with great offensive linemen. They're just not. You got to work to get them. There's no doubt. And if they do, if somebody just didn't sign a guy, then you start to make me wonder, Sveg, especially if they're still at an age where they're not over the hill and they're just hanging on, if you sign a guy like that and they let him go, he's either way outpriced himself for the ROI that you're going to get, or that team's telling me a loud message. It's just not for us anymore. And that always concerns me. And I know the offensive line for the quarterback situation has collateral damage. It does. And it has collateral damage on but with that quarterback, whether it was Watson when he played in Houston or whether it's Stroud, allowing that the negative part of their game, which the offensive line needs to be better, is you can go two ways. You can either wilt and continue to watch the pass rush and be skittish in the pocket, or you can say, okay, we're going to upgrade it. I got to help them make better, so it's not just them, even though that's the majority of the problems. But the quarterback's got to rise above and not allow what's happened 2 years ago or this past year affect him moving forward. Hard thing, easy to say, hard to do. I know this. You were mentioning Tunsil. When you have one great one, well, when I say great, when you lead the league in penalties a couple years in a row, that's not great football. Regardless if it's pre-snap or not, 1st and 10 is different than 1st and 15. 2nd and 7 is different than 2nd and 12. And when you put yourself in that, it's hard to overcome. Now, with the Manti Te'o stuff, and Segs, I'll tell you this, I'd rather have 5 solid than 1 or 2 great and 3 that are a weakness. Because I know this, and I'm not a defensive coordinator, but I know how to attack defense and have studied how they attack, that if you got 2, go back to a couple Super Bowls. When the Patriots got beat, when the Kansas City Chiefs lost their 2 Super Bowls. Let's use them in particular. What happened? Front 7 on the opposing team found 2 weaknesses and dominated them at the point of attack. And that, even with all those great players and with the brilliant Andy Reid play calling. So they're not one player away. They're more execution. Hell, they've got players. They're getting Tank Dell healthy will help them if he can make a return after that gruesome injury. Getting those young guys from Iowa State that are starting to elevate their play.
Yep.
The quarterback. The truth is, Segs, it may not even be a player. It's a group of guys up front getting a little nastier, which is so important on the offensive line. But that group of players and or C.J. Stroud and or somebody else making enough plays at the right time to do it. Now, I do agree on partially with Manti Te'o. Great defense. Just give me an offense that doesn't screw it up. You know how I feel about when a coach says, just don't lose it for us. And game managers are great, but you just can't go out there playing not to lose because you will eventually lose. So where I do agree with him is doing it right. And when you say just don't lose it for us, to me, my message would simply be, we just got to protect the football. But when you're there, you still got to be aggressive.
Right.
And also where I disagree is you can't just roll out in this day and age average offense. You'll get to the playoffs with great defense. It travels. But at some point in that game, and it happened on Super Bowl Sunday, guy who finished second by 1 vote in the MVP, guy who's played like an MVP 2 years in a row. They come together. Are the Patriots good defensively? Hell yes, they are. Are the Seahawks good defensively? Hell yes, they are. And while that's the difference in the game, tell me, Segs, who put their team in a bind with making a costly mistake or two, and who, even though he didn't play his best game, made the right throw at the right time or got a 3rd and 4 completion for a first down to give you another series? Who made that play and who didn't? On the offensive side.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, as opposed to Drake May in that game. So defense will travel and get you to a point, but make no mistake. In the Super Bowl, Brad Johnson won with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He made a few plays and stayed out of trouble and understood the weeks. Trent Dilfer did the same thing when he got the job all year long. May not have been spectacular. And so while we may be saying it different, I don't just think you can throw an offense out there and kind of get by. I think that at the right time, those guys, CJ Stroud, has got to make the throw. You can't turn it over 10 or 11 times in a playoff game. How they got out of the Pittsburgh game just automatically speaks to how bad Pittsburgh's offense was, because their defense forced turnovers. He laid the ball on the ground, and Stroud took 2 steps back in the postseason this year, and he's a better player than that. But the question is, what happens in January for him to elevate? So I don't think you're one offensive player away. You may be 6 or 8 plays away, and that guy right there that we're staring at, the quarterback, he has got to, because regardless of the guys around him, great quarterbacks have to take another step to elevate them. It's just part and parcel to the position. So Manti Te'o's partly correct. Dominant defense, close. But one offensive lineman at guard or at tackle or continuity there, he still has to make that play and protect that defense in a game. That doesn't mean playing scared. It just doesn't mean playing stupid. Drake May made a couple stupid plays, cost him. Defense, short field, offense. Sam Darnold didn't turn the ball over. CJ Stroud, great defense. If he went in with the mentality of play aggressive, do it right, but get the ball to the right guy at the right time and make sure I don't throw it to the other team, you can play aggressive without playing scared. And that's going to be his next level. There's no doubting his physical skills. But once again now, he's getting his 2nd year with another coordinator. He had 2 with Sloak. Now this will be his 2nd year going in next year. Who are they? Where are they going next with this? And I'm just telling you, you can have a great defense, but if you turn it over 4 times, and even if the quarterback's great, you will get beat. So that offense does have to upgrade. You can't keep, Sage, you hit it a lot this year. You didn't like their offense. You thought it was mid at best, and that the inconsistencies of it put them in a bind. Well, damn, wasn't that prophetic come playoff time?
Yeah.
Their defense played well enough in every fucking game to give them a chance to move to the next level. Yep. And they couldn't offensively protect the ball well enough. They got players, but it's not just the players. It's the plays you do or don't make. And they made a bunch of plays defensively, didn't make enough offensively throughout these last 2 years. Okay? You can win a division with defense. You can't win a Super Bowl with just defense and a mistake-prone quarterback. He's got to get better.
Yeah, and a team I look at, and it's my team, the Bears. What'd they do last year? They went out and they got Drew Dahlman in free agency, who was the #1 center, arguably the best offensive lineman out there. They traded for Joe Thuney, who is an all-pro, who wins Protector of the Year, was one of the best, if not the best, offensive lineman in football this year. And then
they traded for Jonah Jackson. Too, Six? Yeah. He was all-pro as well. Yep.
Yeah, and then they went out and traded for Jonah Jackson as well, who had been with Ben Johnson in this system, knew it. And then they had Darnell Wright. And even with a left tackle carousel that they had going on with a rookie, a 2nd-year player, and a veteran in Braxton Jones, who had been struggling to stay healthy, they were still a top 3 unit in football. So the Texans can go out there, but you have to make that your focus. That was Ben Johnson's focus from day one when he came in, was to get an offensive line to protect Caleb Williams, allow him to make the plays that we all know he can make. And now it's on, Caleb and Ben to take that next step to get them to the Super Bowl. But the Texans are kind of a year behind that. They've got the defense, but the offensive line, Titus Howard. How long are we going to do this Titus Howard thing? He's not a good football player. You drafted him in the first round in 2019 when I was still down there. He hasn't been a good football player yet. And yet he's one of your starters. You can't have that. You drafted Ursary out of Minnesota, the big left tackle. You've got Trent Brown, the big right tackle. He's not very good. You just don't have an offensive lineman that you point to and say, okay, there's our anchor. Let's build around him. That's the problem for me with this Texans team moving forward, that if it's not CJ Stroud hurrying his play and missing throws like he did all season long, it's him going to have a concussion or get hurt and miss games because of the offensive line. So that's where I don't see the Texans being just one player, two players away. Maybe it's an offensive line coach. Hell, I don't know. I don't know who's there right now.
Now they're on there. Would be their third one in 4 years.
Yeah, and it's obviously they keep getting it wrong because no one's able to walk in there and at least, like you said, just make them nasty. They're not even that.
Dude, I'll take nasty over.
Yes.
At times, quite frankly, if you're talented but not nasty, I'll bury you. I'll kick your ass regularly. If you're a scrapper and nasty with some kind of talent, we'll get by. If you got a little talent and you're scrappy and nasty, I'm going to win more games than the talented guy who's kind of a pussy on the field, right?
Right.
When I say that, I don't mean it like I'm just talking about who doesn't know how to, when it got you down, bury you. Like, well,
like their defense.
That's exactly right. That play through the whistle, and every now and then you may get penalized for it. But I'm looking for when you walk in and the front seven comes in town, they know when you play Trent Williams, you're getting friggin' nasty, dude.
Yes.
You just are. And if you beat him, he's gonna make sure you pay for it in the right way. And that's I've been saying for years. They've missed since I've been in Houston. It's been 13 years or whatever it is now, 12 years. The thing they've missed for the most part is 5 guys that would just as soon beat your brains in. Then they don't have that.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh had it with their lines. This is the Dallas Cowboys had it with theirs. The 49ers were. Doesn't matter. My Minnesota Vikings guys, dude, are they scrapper, wrestler, just kicking your ass. We may got beat, but after the game, you were going to feel it. I don't think defenses feel it enough. Like they were physically. It's one thing to knock somebody out in a boxing match because you threw a haymaker and hit him in the face. It's another thing to body blow them 70 times in a game or 60. Where, man, we didn't knock them out, but at the end of it, you'll throw up. I don't want a rematch with that one. We keep taking those shots to the and that's football. Simple thing like guy throws his hand up to block a quick game. Linemen that grew up with, when they throw their arms up to do it, you're taking a vicious shot to the solar plexus. So you're not going to bitch out and stand there at the line of scrimmage and jump on my quick game. If you do, my best way to get your hands down, because all that traffic in there, refs don't even see that. Boom, you're getting a double shot to the solar plexus, and your hands are going down because you're not going to stand there and play that coward game, even though it's part of football. You get my point.
Yeah,
that's all offensive linemen think. But Segs, I'm just telling you, if I'd have told you after his rookie year that 2 years from then, that from that spot, that the weakness on the team would still be O-line and that CJ Stroud, they'll have a Super Bowl defense, and that CJ Stroud would be considered a weakness, you'd have looked at me and said, Sean, come on, man. Did you see that rookie year? But when I say weakness, I'm not saying he's a weak player. He's a good player. I'm talking about the weakness that we should be saying from his rookie year to now, that the defense and the quarterback are the biggest strength of that team. And right now we're not. And if we have to, you can't pay him $60 million.
Right.
And this isn't just throwing stuff against the wall like you see on TV. This is hard study and seeing it over years in development mechanics and watching it and seeing him play. He's got to be one of your biggest strengths. He can't be an if going into the offseason. If there's if the ifs match up and the check marks to this isn't an if. This guy, there's no if on can he spin it? No doubt. Is there an if on his pocket presence right now? Oh yeah. Is there an if on his play? If you hit him early, can he stand in there and deliver? Or does the ball come out premature? Yes. So you got to weigh him. I can't pay him $60 million. Now, the Texans may very well do that because they may see something different than you and I do, but I wouldn't. There's a negotiation. If it comes to that, I'm just not paying him this year, and I'm going to have to take my chances or shop the trade market because we've seen the movie around the league too many times. When you overplay guys that aren't great right now but have had great moments, we overpay for great moments. We overpaid Tua for some great moments, not for some great consistency. And that's a problem for me. The Houston Texans are not a long ways away because they made the playoff 3 straight years, but they are a handful of plays and your quarterback and your offensive line away from being, you put it this way, you can't win Super Bowls with turnover quarterback and non-nasty offensive line. I don't give a shit if you take every offensive lineman that's ever whooped ass. I mean, every defensive front seven that's the best ever. Take 7 Hall of Famers on defense and stick them in your front seven, and then give me a average quarterback play, turnover prone, and a soft offensive line, and you know what happens? You will lose and get your ass kicked more than you don't. The fact that they can keep getting in the playoffs is a tribute to them, but the whole goal is to get in and win. So they're a few moments away from being that type of team. But it all starts with the dude that takes snaps under center.
Yeah. One thing I've known about you that you've been asking for your school, USC, is to be physical, to be nasty on defense. And it's something they haven't had in quite a while. They played out there in the Pac-12, and it just wasn't that style of game. And now making this move to the Big Ten, where it's not like it used to be, where it was just, I mean, bloody nose every game, but it's still 75% of that. And yet USC has continued to fall behind the trend of getting more nasty.
They're still playing like a Pac-12 team at times.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what does Lincoln Riley do? He goes out and he hires former TCU head coach Gary Patterson, and to make his defense more nasty. But here's what Lincoln Riley had to say about coaching against Gary Patterson, which led to him hiring Patterson as the DC.
That y'all were hiring Gary Patterson, I was like, hey, hang on, that's a guy that Coach Riley coached against now, a guy that he had to game plan against those Gary Patterson defenses. How much did that play a factor in making him the right guy?
That all factored in. You know, we set out some criteria that we felt like were going to be really important for us to take the next step defensively. We've taken some well-documented steps over the last few years, but it's, you know, listen, it's time for us to be great on defense. I mean, plain and simple. It is time. The players are here. The setup is here. Like, it is time to step up into that next level of defensive play consistently. It's hard to find a guy that's been as consistently productive as a head coach and as a defensive coach, a guy that's able to evolve in so many different ways, do it with different skill sets, a lot of times do it with skill sets that were, you know, maybe not equal of the teams he was having to compete against than Gary Patterson. We talked 2 years ago when the job was open, but he wasn't ready to get back into it at that level, because anybody that knows Gary knows there's no halfway with this guy. I mean, he's just an absolute psycho. So, I mean, like, when he goes, it is full speed. I don't know that he's left the office since he's been in LA. And so he just, but that's him. And so at this point, he was ready to be back in. He was recharged. He is motivated. He's got an edge and a chip on his shoulder right now, and he's really excited to be at USC, and we're thrilled to have him.
Segs, I've got a couple things I want to say about this, and I've told you about this, and it feels like Lincoln Riley and I were sitting around 2 months ago having a conversation.
Yeah.
Did I not tell you during the season? Not a pat on the back, but fact. So maybe Lincoln Riley watched this and said, Sean's right.
Yeah.
I told you that Lincoln Riley needs to hire somebody. At the time, Gary wasn't in play publicly, right? I said, he needs to hire somebody that he hates game planning against. That was the number one. I said, good offensive coaches find guys. They say, okay, who do I want to hire? I want to hire the dude that I have a hell of a time having to game plan against. He found it. A couple things. This is for the college football world and for USC fans both. Am I guaranteeing a national championship? No, but I am telling you, Lincoln Riley has never had a better defensive coordinator at any place, including Alec. Didn't he have Grinch in Oklahoma? I know Grinch was there. I'm not sure if Lincoln, I think they were together. Because so. Lincoln and Grinch and Mike Leach, that whole background together, right? Yeah. But this is the best he's had. Now, I think Gary Patterson taking time off, he never rushed back. People craved him every year, but wanted him. He'd be a consultant and help out. But I'm talking about where you dive in full time, where you're 20 hours a day. This is your life. Gary's refreshed. He's the best defensive coordinator that Lincoln Riley's ever had, and since Lincoln Riley took over at USC, this is the best they've had. Another thing, nasty. You heard him say he's basically wacko nutcase, and he means that affectionately, meaning dude never leaves. He's studying, designing. He's got old school, in your face, with understanding what the new era of player is. His schemes will change. He got his base, but Lincoln Riley needs to do this. Now focus on the team and your offense and stay out of Gary Patterson's way. The number one thing here is he's got a guy who is nasty and gets after it, but he's also a guy who isn't just doing it on yelling and screaming. He's doing it on by game planning his ass off. And Gary has never in college, where TCU, wherever he's been, he's never had the guys, the athletes, and that he will get. It's just kind of a bummer that all these years, like all these players you get, what's missing? Well, a guy that brings out the best, not only scheme-wise. Scheme's great, but if you got no players, or if you got players that are underachievers, it doesn't matter. If you got great players and the scheme sucks, you may win more because great players they're the guys on the field. Now, if you got great scheme and you got I'm sure Gary's sitting there saying, dude, this is a Dairy Queen blizzard for me. This is ice cream with a cherry on top. I get these cats because Gary always coached guys to play overachievers. Now what I need is him to take 4- and 5-star guys and make them overachievers even at a 5-star guy. And he can. So USC Trojan fans, you should be as excited about Gary Patterson as you were when you hired Lincoln Riley. Remember oh my gosh. But Gary comes in with less fanfare. But if you've been watching, go around. I dare anybody to find me a coach who's been around Gary Patterson or had the game plan against him in his career and say, average coach, no thanks. Now, some may not want to hire him because they're threatened because Gary's also been a very successful head coach. But this is the look may not be sexy because that's right, Coach Patterson, he's still doing this. But I'm going to tell you, screw sexy. He's that guy that you're like, oh, man, where'd he come from? Oh, well, what do you mean, where'd he come from? He's been doing it forever. But he's rejuvenated. This is may not be sexy on the surface, as I said, Segs, but those of us in the business who watch him, this is efficient as hell. I will be shocked if this isn't one of the biggest turnarounds. Now, Gary Patterson's also a guy, and I know to leave and go to Penn State, losing our defensive coordinator, but Gary Patterson's the type of coach, Segs, and you heard Lincoln talk about, when I went to talk to him before, he wasn't ready to come out, which tells me, dude, you're turning down USC's defensive coordinator job when you're out when you're really not. Wasn't ready. Waited till he was fully rejuvenated. And now look, Gary Patterson's the guy you fire your defensive coordinator to hire, even though they didn't do it because it left. But even though the previous, good coach and staff, but Gary Patterson's different. And it's not a knock on the previous staff. It's just he's better. And he's been better than most since he's been in his career. This is a monster hire. And Lincoln, you see Lincoln just kind of laughed like, I'm getting out of his damn way, basically.
Right.
That's the whole thing. Let him go do his thing. And the guy you hate game planning against is the guy you need to hire. And he finally got the guy that I'm sure was at the top of his list when this whole thing started for Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, it's a great hire for Lincoln Riley. Now we'll see once they get onto the field, how does Gary Patterson affect this defense in a good way? And can it turn around quickly with the way the transfer portal and stuff works? You can get guys in your system that fit your system that come in right away and you can take off. And, having Maava as your quarterback again this year brings back a quarterback with experience. This team should be ready to take off and compete for a playoff spot. They were close, but just outside this past year. Now they can compete at the top of that Big Ten with the Ohio States, the Indiana, Michigan, if Penn State comes back. So that's what Gary Patterson brings to USC. All right. Also in college football, we got a bad story to talk about here real quick, and it's out of BYU. BYU wide receiver Parker Kingston was arrested in Washington County, Utah, and charged with first-degree felony sexual assault. I'm not going to use the R word, but it's sexual assault in connection with an alleged
incident. Such a harsh word,
too,
Six. Yeah.
Yes, it really is. It really is. The incident occurred on February 23rd, 2025. So we're coming up on that year-long date. This follows the year-long investigation by the St. George Police Department, which, they got all the evidence they needed. And again, when you go a year investigating something while this kid is out there playing football and doing stuff, and then you come back almost a full year later and say, all right, now we're charging you. That tells me that they have something. And the sad part is, I think it was just Saturday night at the BYU game, he announced that he's engaged. So he announced that he's engaged to a beautiful young lady. And then 2, 3, 4 days later, whatever it was, he's charged with first-degree felony sexual assault. And this is a serious charge. This is something that can land him in prison. I don't know, how his new fiance feels about it, and maybe she's been with him for a while and backs him up, but it's an unfortunate situation there at BYU for a very good young football player.
Yeah, Segs. Oh, he's a hell of an energy guy.
Yeah.
The football stuff has to take a backseat. There's just questions I have. We've seen it both ways. First off, let's preface this. If he is guilty of this, you've got to go at it hard. Our number one goal is to protect women and children. It should be. And that's Captain Obvious. You got to protect them. And those of us who have daughters, you absolutely have to. And it's important. Now, the other side of this, we've seen the other side. And I'm not leaning on one or the other. I hate hearing this for both sides and families, because the truth of the matter is, one way or the other, if it happened and he's not found guilty, if he doesn't go to jail, I mean, I think he's in holding now as we speak, Segs. I read it, unless he's out later today. But he, as of the last night or this morning, he had been booked and arrested. If he goes to jail, think of the collateral damage for his family and the victim's family. If he doesn't, but he is guilty, think about the scars this gal's going to have to take the rest of her life. What, 20 years old? Think about that.
He is being held without bail. So
right. Now the other side is, think about if he's innocent and she's lying. I'm not saying, I'm just saying the ifs, right?
Yeah.
Now his is still people are always going to say, yeah, but even if he's innocent, that's going to follow him for a while. Hell, Brian Banks went through this at USC and was finally, the gal finally admitted that he didn't do it. It cost him a career and cost him 7 years in prison, whatever it was. So that's why, listen, I'm not investigating it. I don't know. I was just as shocked as everybody else to read it. BYU's having a tough time with the honor code right now. Quarterback transfers after what happened to him, their starting quarterback. But this is, for me, and I don't know, Segs, and I wish I could give you an answer. I just know this: if he's guilty, shame on him. You got to lock him up and put him in jail. If she is guilty of, he broke up with me, or he didn't like me, and whatever reason, and is falsely accusing him, she needs to be treated the same way the person that is basically on trial, even though he's not on trial yet, has to be treated. Because the effect of this is a life ruiner either way, and the scars either way. So until we know more, Segs, my biggest question is, and I know there's a lot of investigation that has to go into something like this. We're talking a year, though.
Yep.
A year. And I don't know the protocol of how long it's for. I see this all the time. Some it's immediate, boom, they're on it. Some takes a year. They've had this in, like you said, since February of 2025. Mm-hmm. And here we are in February 2026. So did DNA or whatever that is pop up? Did she just decide but she couldn't have, because didn't she report it a year ago, Segs? They knew about this in February of 2025. So what are you investigating over the year? Were they together? Well, I don't know. Was it he said, she said? Did they leave? Was there out? I don't know, but I know this: it's awful. And if it happened, the family, how awful for the victim's family. The alleged victim, if it didn't happen, what a shame for him moving forward, for him and his fiance and all those things, and for his life. So I don't know, Segs. We're so quick to do this, not you and me, but we see it all the time. Oh, what a pig. And he may very well be. Or, man, how could she do this to him? You'll get all of that. The truth of the matter is, please let the investigation be right. But the question will always be asked is, why did it take so long? But I would rather have it take long and get it right than rush to it and get it wrong. And so these stories suck. I hate them. I hate them because you just don't know. And especially you're not there in the room or have any idea. And if it's just those two, how do you prove it? And if DNA is a part of it, how do you prove it wasn't consensual? All those things that those people far smarter and legally are going through, that's a long time. And I wonder throughout the process, and I always think about this, Segs, when somebody had done what they did, he is being that allegedly did, right? That he's being held for.
Yeah.
Last year in February in the off season, I always wonder, did you know this was coming? If you're him, Was it weighing heavy on you? Did you think, oh no, this isn't going to happen? Like, we've had conversations. It was concern. All those things that go through both minds, and what took so long for it to come out now? But it's not the length of it when it's a year. It's when it comes to the investigation, it is, do you have all the facts right? And so I always reserve it. I just know this, that even the mere mention of it, it's going to follow them around regardless, because obviously she's claiming it happened. So she has these feelings and get it. And obviously I would imagine he's going to battle it like they do. It makes me sick because no means no to the woman, that I wasn't there, and got to protect them first. But I also know everybody deserves protected the same way, so you don't get falsely accused. You always hope it didn't happen, but in this case, if it did, then you got to protect the woman. But these people that are the legal side of it, a year later, that had to weigh on him and her a long time, and both families, I would imagine.
Yes, for sure. He will appear in court tomorrow for the first time to start all the processes moving forward. Staying in college football, On Three's Ari Wasserman came out with his top 10 quarterbacks for the 2026 season. Arch Manning sits at the top. Then you have Dante Moore, Sam Levitt, who transferred to LSU, Julian Sayin, the Ohio State quarterback, Josh Hoover, the transfer quarterback to Indiana. Then you have Gunnar Stockton at Georgia, who I think came on late in the season and showed what kind of player he can be. Jaden Maiava, who we just talked about there at USC. Darian Mensah, who sparked all that controversy with the Duke, signing the deal with Duke and then backing out. Now is it Miami? He comes in at 8. Brendan Sorsby, the transfer from Cincinnati. And then wrapping up the top 10 is CJ Carr at Notre Dame. Sean, the one guy I want to ask you about is Josh Hoover. So he's the guy now going to replace Fernando Mendoza at Indiana. What do you think about Josh Hoover transferring from TCU? TCU wasn't that great. They weren't awful. Do you think he can be a top 5 quarterback, or would you list him, I guess, as a top 5 quarterback right now over guys like Maiava and Mensah and Sorsby, even Carr?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Think he's a really good player, but I think that I need to see him against this competition before I can make that decision. I've watched him play. I mean, here's Texas. I see a lot of him play.
Yeah, he can throw it and everything.
Yeah, he's a good player. Sure.
It's different now. You're going to the reigning national champion. That's a whole nother level.
Well, let's look at the top here, Segs. Dante Moore was going to go to the NFL, didn't. Arch Manning. Listen, I do have the question for you to ponder. If Arch Manning decided to come out this year, would the Raiders take him over Mendoza if they kept the pick? We'll talk about that in a second. Levitt transfer. Sayin is going to be a sophomore. Josh Hoover transfer. Gunnar Stockton been there. Maiava been there. Mensah transfer. Sorsby transfer. CJ Carr been there. So about half and half. I think Hoover's a good player, but this is a prove it to me, Segs. And when you're ranking them, are we ranking them top college football quarterbacks in college? I would put Hoover somewhere in there. Why? Good player going to a better team. That always matters. If we'd asked this question about Mendoza coming from Cal a year ago or two and said, oh, he's been in the system, he's starting 1 year preseason, we said, Mendoza's going to be the best quarterback in this group. Does he belong in the top 5? And you know what you'd have said? I don't know. We would have, because he's a 1-year star. We said, well, I know he comes highly regarded, smart guy, but nobody had a clue, maybe other than their head coach and that football team, that he was going to be this good. Maybe they didn't even know. So I think it's a wait and see. But I can tell you this, judging from what I see, if you're talking about just college players, from what I've seen, body of work, number 7, number 8, 8 too, number 7, 8, and 9, even CJ. I would have Hoover at the bottom 5 as far as the top 5 with the prove it to me again. But the first 3, I don't have much argument with. And the 2 guys like CJ Carr and Julian Sayin, and Sayin's a really good player. But the top 2 are the top 2, which leads me to this, and we can both answer this. After all that Arch Manning went through early ups and downs, started to settle in late and got better as the season went along, you started to see why everybody loves Arch Manning. Draft today, or draft in April. Arch Manning's available. Raiders don't trade the pick. Who you taking?
Who am I taking, or who do I think the Raiders are taking?
Both. Give me one or both.
Okay.
You can tell me who you're taking and tell me who the Raiders.
Raiders are 100% taking Arch Manning. It's Mark Davis. This is the kind of stuff he lives for. These type of names, this name value, he thinks can bring more value to his. Even though Mendoza won the Heisman, he thinks Arch Manning, that's a lot more money coming into my organization. If I'm the Raiders, I'd have to really sit down and think about it. I do like Arch, but the way Mendoza came in and played with a team that is good, but he lifted them. Whereas I think at Texas, he had a lot of talent around him in Arch Manning. So I think I would lean towards Mendoza as we sit now.
For me, Segs, as much as I love Mendoza's 1 year, I still would love to see one more. Right? He was fantastic this year. He, goofy, which is okay. I mean that kindly. But a leader that guys rallied around. And the truth is, maybe we underplayed that they got better talent in Indiana than we thought, because you ain't win a national title with just average players. And he just enhanced that, which is a good thing. We've already talked about how important that position is to make guys around you take a 7 and make him a 9. It's highly important. And Mendoza did that all year long. And it didn't hurt that he had receivers that went and got that football. And it didn't matter who it was in big games. They made play after play after play. If it's me, and I know this isn't an Arch Manning, fanboy stuff. I saw improvement this year, which matters. I know the DNA. I know the family. I would have to, judging 5 years from now, you say, Sean, who do you think is going to end up giving you a better chance to win? And if I'm wrong on this, Sakes, I will, as a Raider guy, or when they're both in the league competing, 5 years from now, if we're saying Arch Manning was a bust and Mendoza's Drake May, I'll stand up and say, you know what? I think that Mendoza could be a really good player. But for me, I think the Raiders would take Arch Manning because they love the name. It's like they used to love speed at wide receiver, even if you're Arch Manning, and even Brady being in there will say, I'll take the DNA over the other, in my opinion. If it was me as a general manager and Arch Manning was in this draft with those two and I was choosing between those two, hell, there may be another guy on here, Segs, you'd take over both of them. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But between those two, I would go with what I think 4 years from now is going to look different. And my trust for the Manning family and the kids' preparation, they've done it right, and getting another year of experience, I would take Arch Manning before I'd take Mendoza if they were both in this draft. Yet, I still think Mendoza, I'm just a little concerned about what can he continue to do this and they were, when I say underdog, nobody thought they were winning the national title this year, until the playoff. We said, we knew they'd be good. But he really, now, if this is just the beginning of his rise, look out, because he does everything well. The question is, does he have that come Sundays? Arch Manning's been seeing it since he was playing, since he had a pacifier in his mouth. So we'll see. I do think Arch Manning's mechanics have got to improve for consistency under duress. I'd love an offseason with him. Not saying I'm better than the Mannings. They all got stuff too. But they said, Sean, put your eyes on him for 3 months. Go train him. Right. Be with him. I'd love to see it because there's a few things, not wholesale change, but a few things that I'd like to change or like to adjust with him that I see. And I'm sure Peyton sees everything. He doesn't miss anything. So does Eli and Archie for that matter. But if they want a different set of eyes, because I think a few adjustment saves without wholesale changes, Arch Manning's got another level to him that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. One more quick question about this, and then we'll move on. Last year, we looked at a list similar to this, or, when you're doing the show or you're looking ahead to the college football playoff, we had guys like Cade Klubnik. We had Garrett Nussmeier. We had Drew Aller on this list at the top of this list as guys who are going to be, top 5 picks, top 10 picks.
Nussmeier, Sellers,
NFL draft. Yep. Yes, Sellers is another one. Yes. And then they come out, and Manning was on this list. And then they came out, and at least for the first half of the season, if not all the season, they stunk it up. I mean, they weren't good. They were not nearly as good as everybody projected them to be. And that's part of the reason, Coach JB comes on here every Monday and talks about how bad the quarterback play is at the college level, that, we have all these guys ranked high and they come out and you can see so many flaws in their games that, it takes Sellers to, get over the hump in one game, but then come back the next game, throw 4 interceptions. Nussmeier had everything set up for him, and then that failed at LSU. Klubnik, especially at Clemson. He was supposed to be the guy that came out and was the number one pick, and then it never happened. So do you look at this list and say, okay, I could see this guy being like Nussmeier or Drew Aller or so on?
Yeah. And Segs, we're seeing this a lot. I take you back even 2 years before, a couple years before that. What's my guy's name who was at North Carolina and then went to Washington, has been moved around. He's back up somewhere. Sam, not Sam Hartman, who was Wake Forest, who was the starter at North Carolina, their energy guy. Played same year as Spencer Rattler. They went into the offseason being the first and second pick. Am I losing?
Yes.
Just hit North Carolina quarterbacks. I can't believe him. But remember, Spencer Rattler went into that year, was supposed to be the first pick of the draft, and the quarterback in North Carolina was going to be behind him as the second pick of the draft. And guess what? One transferred, the other didn't live up to it. Both are in the NFL, and neither one are starting. Rattler was the guy, and he knew it. Didn't work out. He ends up going to South Carolina. It's Sam. It's going to hit me, dude. I think it's Sam Hartman was Wake Forest. He's still
Sam Howell.
Howell, there you go. Sam Howell was going into that year, was the second or third ranked quarterback and a possible first rounder. Didn't happen. Spencer Rattler was the guy. Came back, transferred, and there you go. So can it happen? Yeah. I think if Arch Manning has an average year to good year, he's still going to be picked in the first round. And a lot of that will be because of DNA. I'm just telling you, if he does. You look at that list, Segs, are you convinced Dante Moore is a first round pick if he plays average? And is a kick
average?
To me, to me, if he plays like he did
the guy
this year,
I actually really like moving forward. I'm
no
glad
doubt
he went back, and I think he can really grow. I look
Matter
at
of fact,
Levitt.
of all these guys, Dante Moore and Sorsby, I just love their game. I think Dante Moore, right now, if you said who's the best today, Dante Moore would be at the top of the list, in my opinion. Yeah. Now, I've seen the movie, though. But I also know keeping the same coach, numbers aren't going to go down. As long as he can stay healthy, he will. But Sam Levitt, I think that's one that, okay, Nussmeier, he's a first-round pick going in, Segs, boom, plays, doesn't work out. Levitt's game should improve. Even though I love what he did at Arizona State, he's now got a guy who's a play caller who will maximize every single – he could turn into Jackson Dart's draft status. You know what I'm saying? He really could. So I do, Segs, I think when we're done at the end of this year, that list, half of them ain't going to be on it when you're talking NFL stuff or who had the best year. But I find it hard, considering their teams, to think that a Sam Levitt, a Dante Moore, an Arch Manning, or a Julian Saint, I'm just using those for example, are going to go into this year and come out of it thinking, man, I suck. I've seen enough evidence to say they're not going to suck, and they're on good teams with great talent. If they do come out and we have sucked by them, or man, what a disappointment, that'll tell you something. Because all four of those teams should be playoff contenders: Ohio State, LSU, Oregon, and Texas next year. So it would mean you brought the team down instead of did what Mendoza did and lifted his up. So those names are going to change, Segs. And there's a guy on there that's going to rear his head that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know he was that good. You'll see it all the time, right? So I do. These last couple of years have been a disappointment at the top of the first. I'm talking about where they were going in and where they were at the end of the season. And it affected Rattler and Howell. It's obviously affected all those guys this year. Because I'm not sure after Mendoza that you can guarantee me there's a guy that should be a first-round pick into the group. Talent-wise, maybe. Production-wise, Lenore Sellers is coming back. Nussmeier is going to do his thing. We know that Klubnik's in this draft. But, Segs, I'm telling you, I'm not gambling my franchise in the first 15 picks on anybody outside of Mendoza as a first-round pick, considering who's in this draft and what I saw last year.
Yeah, 100% agree. We had the Seahawks had their Super Bowl parade this past Tuesday, I think it was, and we had some funny clips from it. Ernest Jones, the linebacker, gets up there, and you could tell he immediately says, "Yeah, they shouldn't have given me the mic, and if you don't believe in my quarterback, my running back, my defense, my offensive lineman, if you don't believe in my team, then fuck you," or something along those lines. Then you got John Schneider, the GM, goes up there, and he's talking about Kenneth Walker, and here's what he had to say. The joke fell flat, but you know what? As drunk as he seemed in that video, credit to Kenneth Walker for trying to get something done, and maybe he
Dude.
agrees to 15 a year. There's never a bad time to negotiate, especially when your boss is drunk and he may offer you something that you can't turn down.
Kenneth Walker's brilliant. And listen, there's no arguing. People will argue that, listen, you can't argue how good John Schneider is. That's number one. This is a top-ranked GM in this league at the top. Two is, I don't have any problem with him having a good time at this. I don't know who does. Drink it up, brother. Just don't drive. Drink it up. Slur your words. If you're ever going to do it, now's the time to do it. And if John would have simply said, he tried to negotiate a new contract with me 5 minutes ago, then maybe, and been more like precise about it, then the joke may not have fell flat. But if you're Kenneth Walker, and maybe it was really weird, no, I would have said, if I Josh, he tried to negotiate with me 5 minutes ago. Now I'm drunk, but I ain't that drunk to negotiate while I'm drinking, and made a joke. Right. Then it would have been, oh yeah, give Kenneth money. But Walker's brilliant. Hey, dude, you never know. I love the fact that we know the guy's not out there partying on a regular basis beating Walker, because he and Darnold both said, well, going to spend going to spend time with family, and Ryan Clark didn't like that because he wasn't turned, right? But love Walker. Segs, what better time to do it? Catch a guy in John Schneider. Hey man, what do you think about 17 and a half? Can we make it fully guaranteed? Yeah, we got you. But all in good fun. Million people there. Good on the Seahawks. And John Schneider having a ball. I love to see him just being one of the guys. And I love to see this team that 20 year for Chuck Knox. And I can tell you this, it was a blast. I loved my time in Seattle. Good on them. They proved they were the best team all year. And if you're John Schneider and Kenneth Walker, if you're Schneider, don't take that extra shot, because he may try to negotiate twice. If you're Kenneth Walker, get him while the getting's good, brother. You've earned it. Yeah. And I love it. And boy, what a football player he proved to be.
Came out and basically said, like, I didn't say shit. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. He was just trying to be funny. But
right. Whatever. But if he did, even if he didn't, he should jump on in. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Right.
Hey, can somebody block this clown in our comments, please? Who's Benito Antonio Martinez? Just block him because he's an idiot. There you go.
He's gone. The Olympics we talked about. We got USA versus Latvia, and like we said yesterday, you throw out the records when these two teams match up. That game starts in about an hour and 15 minutes. So if you're looking for something to watch this afternoon after our show, boom, you got U.S. hockey taking on Latvia. Sean, I don't know if you saw the video. We'll talk about the one we teased in just a second, but the video from yesterday, the skier who goes through the gate, or whatever you want to call it, the flag, and he splits it with his legs. And I mean, he took a shot square to the junk, and you just see him like slow. You could hear, first of all, on the broadcast, him kind of make a sound that, guys make when they get hit in the nuts. It's like, yeah, that, ooh. And then, he took a couple turns and he actually stopped, and the announcer was funny. He's, just cracking jokes about it, but damn, that had to hurt.
Segs, that's one of those things too. Yeah, we've all been hit there. Sometimes the hardest hit isn't the one that gives you that stomach ache. You know what I'm saying? It's that it could be a light hit that grazed the wrong place. And the fact that you're like, I can't even, it does. You can't do the fact, it is paralyzing. So whatever hit he took, and the thump will make you think, whoa, yes. I remember I took a ground ball on a bad hop playing third base, hit me there, Segs, in high school. And I'm like, but it hit the spot that didn't give me the stomach ache. And then I've taken those shots where just kind of graze you, and then about 15, 20 seconds later, you're done. Beads of sweat. You can't go, yeah. That's exactly. But that's a whole new way of, I guess, getting through to the base of the hill. Yeah, so good on him.
It didn't work. He didn't even finish. Nope. So,
can you blame it? But what I'm saying, that's the part of getting to the bottom of the hill. That will stop you in your tracks, man. Literally.
Oh, for sure. And I don't know if you got to see the X-rays of Lindsey Vohn's leg. She's got her third surgery is done. She has more to go. But I'm talking like when you see a leg break, especially the lower leg, you might see both, the whatever the hell they're called down there, the fibula and tibia are just cleanly broken, right? Well, the way she hit and spun at the same time, I mean, it's like she's got multiple fractures throughout the entire, both bones. Her entire lower leg is like destroyed. So,
it gives me a sick stomach. If a guy's been through it, I don't want. Yeah, I don't want to see those. This was
her last Olympics. Yeah, that's what really sucks. All right, but the story.
Thanks, real quick with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Joe Theismann thing. I've never watched it a second time. Like I just can't.
Yeah, I don't go back and watch those either.
I can't do it. And we will talk tomorrow on Part Valentine's Day. Hagenator, you mentioned it. It's already here. We're going to talk tomorrow. Overrated, underrated, properly rated Valentine's Day. We will discuss that tomorrow for some fun on Friday the 13th. Tomorrow, yeah. Valentine's Day is maybe it's a touchy subject for some, not for me. I'm going all in on it tomorrow, Segs. And real quick, before you ask to move on to the next one, I said, give me random college basketball players. We've had I think we had Big Country. Big Country was on there, Oklahoma State guy. Didn't we have, who else was on that list that I saw today? Not Kaminsky. Let me go back, and I just want to pay it off because you know what? They put their time into it. Corliss Williamson, Arkansas, big fella. I'm going to throw in DC Derek Coleman, who should have been a top 5 power forward in the NBA of all time. He was that gifted. Syracuse's Derek Coleman was a great player.
I'm going to throw out your big lefty power forward. I'll throw another one at you with Anthony Mason of the New York Knicks.
Nice. Got it.
So, lefty wasn't afraid to knock Jordan out of the air like most in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you didn't want to mess with him. So yeah, we'll get to that on.
There's quite a few guys in that area you didn't want to mess with.
Yeah. Right. Last story today. This is from the Olympics a couple days ago. Let me get this right. See where he's from. I don't even know where he's from, but here's the video of him talking after he wins bronze in the biathlon. This is Sturla Legreed, I believe is how you say his name. But here's the video of him after winning bronze in his race. I think he's from the Netherlands or up in that area.
Forever.
Sturla Holmlægra, gratulerer så mye med OL-bronse. Hvordan har du det?
Det stort. Det min første OL-medalje. Og jeg vil takke alle som har hjulpet meg på veien. Smørerne for en kjempegod skidag, og hele familien som har backa meg. Og så det en jeg ville dele det her med, som kanskje ikke ser på I dag. For et halvt år siden så møtte jeg mitt livs kjærlighet. Verdens vakreste, fineste person. Og for 3 måneder siden så gjorde jeg min største tabbe og var utro mot henne. Og det fortalte jeg for en uke siden. Og det har vært den første uken I mitt liv. Så jeg hadde gullmedalje I livet. Det var sikkert bare mange der nå som ser på meg med andre øyne. Men jeg har kun øyne for henne. Jeg vet ikke hva jeg vil frem til å si det her nå, men...
He's from Norway.
I don't know whether to feel bad for him or laugh.
I was laughing.
I feel bad for him because the guy got the tears, man.
He fucked up. It's not like she cheated on him. I feel bad for him. No, he fucked up and cheated on the greatest thing he's ever seen, that he's been dating for 6 months.
Right.
It's not like this is a 10-year relationship and you know,
he's been with her for 25 years. They were childhoods. I 100% say my first reaction was to laugh and say, what the hell is this guy saying? Okay.
Right.
Secondly, is I felt heartfelt. I mean, you're exactly right. It's not on her, it's on him. He cheated on her, and now he's suffering the consequences of losing the dream girl of his life, right? That part is 100% true. But his presentation made me think here he is with a gold medal, and this is the best sports time of his life, and that's all he could think about. There's got to be just a little compassion while you're laughing your ass off at him, saying it says, you know, you fucked up. It was a choice, not an accident. It was a choice. And so you're suffering the consequence. The fact that you could still go down and get gold tells me, damn, for the couple minutes or however long it took to get to the bottom of the hill. Good, you were able to compartmentalize and focus. Or maybe it's a plea for she's watching, she's going to forgive him, and he wants to start over. Look at me being marriage counselor and try to get this done for him. I guess I got to laugh at the fact, well, you dumbass, don't cheat on a good woman and you won't have to stand at the gold medal and get interviewed and not know what to do.
Exactly.
But the fact that he got into tears, he was in his feels, part of it twinged me for about 5% of me, twinged me. I feel bad for the guy, yet we should be feeling bad for the girl because he was a dog, and then he wins a gold medal. Maybe they'll reconcile.
No, he didn't even win the gold. He won bronze.
Oh,
maybe
I thought he won gold.
No.
Yeah, I thought in there he said gold.
Gold. Maybe he comes back.
Well, fuck him then. He only won bronze. No, I'm kidding. I thought it said gold on the thing. So he won a medal. Okay, so he won a medal. So gold would have made it all go away. Saying he won a medal. The guy gets a medal. Bronze, maybe he puts it around her neck when they get back together, and she'll be forgiving for the stupidity that he brought there. Or maybe she's moved on to a better skier. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the guy that won gold gets her now.
Some journalist up in Norway deserves what did journalists win? A Pulitzer Prize? Is that what
or
they win?
Marconi? Oh, that'd be radio. Oh, you mean like some kind of
radio.
journalist? The Nobel Peace Prize things? You want to give her that?
I don't think nobody deserves the Nobel here, but I think it's a Pulitzer that they found this girl.
Pulitzer,
and they
there
got
you
a
go.
response. Yeah. And it is, I did not choose to be put in this position, and it hurts to have to be in it. We have had contact, and he is aware of my positions on this, and basically saying like, hey, congrats, you won the bronze, but I don't give a shit. You cheated.
She's standing her ground because she wants moral. Yeah. She doesn't want her relationship to start off like that. I don't blame her. Truth to her, handle it professionally. What if she would have said at the end, and by the way, don't ever do that again. Unless you win gold, don't cry on camera. Unless you want to come get me. Win bronze, get the fuck out. So I feel bad for both of them, but maybe I'm just too sensitive for those guys. Yeah. What if she'd have said, yeah, but he has no idea I'm banging the gold medal winner. What? I'm kidding.
From like Turkey
there's a part
or
of me.
something.
I feel bad for her. He shouldn't have blown it. But there is that part of me that maybe I'm a softer, kinder, gentler guy as I get a little older. Don't fuck it up. But he did. That he cried on TV when he said, "But this is the worst week of my life." I said, "Dude, you just won a medal." And then he got into to talking about mama. I'm like, Well, guess who holds the cards in that relationship, Segs? She got him by the short hairs, and apparently somebody else did for a night too, which is too bad for that relationship. Yeah. See me playing counselor. That's $250 an hour that he owes me. Okay, don't screw that up.
It's just the fact that you win bronze. That here's Norway. You get to talk to your country after winning bronze in the biathlon. This is your one chance to say whatever. And you start crying because you cheated on a girl you've been dating for 6 months.
What's worse, if he'd have gone on there and said,
not the best look. Like you lose your man card after that.
Okay, that was my question. What's worse, if he'd have broke down in tears had she had cheated on him, and he sat up there and cried after winning the bronze, or the fact that he did it this way? What eliminates man card more? Because some will say, "Oh, how hot was the girl?" You'll get some who want to know what the other girl looked like. Stupidity. But where's the man card? By cheating, you lose it anyway. But what would have been worse? My girlfriend was banging somebody else, and she's the love of my life, or almost pathetic to the point you're begging her back. I think if she'd have cheated on him and he'd have gone on there, and that would have been his rant that I'd love her back. It's been the worst week of my life.
Yeah,
if he cheated on me, but I still love her. That would have been the worst, right? Yeah.
If he comes
at least he came clean and said he cheated. Yeah, maybe it was cathartic for him, Segs. Maybe it's his counselor. By doing that, it gave him some leeway in his mind to say, "This is cathartic. I'm going to tell the world I screwed up."
What if he came on afterwards and was like, thank you to everybody who helped me along my way, just like he did, my family, everybody, and to that bitch that cheated on me, I wasn't supposed to medal here. And I took all that rage that I had from you cheating on me 3 months ago or a week ago or however long ago, and I went out and won a gold medal. So
now I would have laughed. I would have cried. I fell out of my seat. So he plays the card. He calls her a bitch. Oh, that bitch cheated on me.
Oh, yeah.
I got my gold. And then he said, and by the way, by the way, how about this goal on these nut? I mean, gone into that rant, just like I've completely buried it. Oh man. But I understand it's about 95% pathetic that he did it. The cheating's 100% pathetic. But there's 5% of me that says, should we give the guy another chance? Apparently, she's not going to.
No, she's like,
good on her. She's obviously tough and win gold. Maybe you have a better argument. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you have a better argument.
Don't be a loser, basically.
Which will lead us to Valentine's Day tomorrow. His Valentine's Day is going to suck on Saturday, isn't it, Saints?
He's going to spend all day crying.
No pun intended with the suck card. So there you go.
He's gonna be crying, wiping his tears with a bronze medal, and then he's gonna start crying because he realizes he won the damn bronze medal and not the gold.
I think he might be sitting there with the bronze medal, like, I can't believe it, cheated on her. I love you. But I got bronze. And I hope he's okay.
I hope not.
And I hope she is too. So there you go.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing me out in my feels today, Segs. I appreciate it.
Yep. I thought you would laugh and have a good time, and now you're defending this guy.
I did. The first thing I started laughing, I said, "What in the hell?"
On the back.
Feeling bad for what a pussy I am.
Yeah, you would have walked up and gave him a hug, and jeez, I was just hoping to have some fun with this, and then you got you like,
I start laughing because you're falling back in your seat laughing. I start my laugh, and I think, this poor guy, this poor guy, and it's a great call by Dustin Bull. If he would have used the bitch card, your man card's reinstated, right, Segs?
Oh, yeah.
That I cheated on that bit, and my bad, and the bitch I cheated with, man, my bad. And the man card jumps right back into your wallet, right? Oh, that's so harsh. Men are us guy. You pigs.
Men are pigs.
Yeah,
they are.
There is no doubt about it. And you're mad at me because I didn't laugh like you. Oh, okay. There goes. I gave you 5% of my sensitivity. No more. I'm going to go back to being a harsh prick. How's that? There you go.
When I first saw it, I laughed way too hard at it. It was.
Well, there's a shock. You laughing at his expense because I get it. I hear you.
It's the other language. It's, not noticing reading subtitles.
Yeah, they keep throwing subtitles. Super Bowl halftime show and a bronze medalist throwing all his. I can't understand anything anybody's saying right now. But I can tell you what. She speaks the language, and she made sure you ain't getting back with me. So there you go.
Well, yeah. How much Bad Bunny have you listened to since Sunday? Every day?
You know what? Average Rabbit. I haven't listened to any. I call him the Average Rabbit.
To any of Average Rabbit?
Yeah, none. I didn't listen to any before, and I'm not. I probably won't listen to much in the future. So great energy. I'll stop there. But if you go back and listen to the lyrics, probably not good for kids and stuff. But if we're really diving in on a halftime show of Super Bowl, what did that mean, Mom? When he tugged on his Nazutskis and said this word? Well, honey, that's why they call him Bad Bunny.
Yeah, you'll learn about it later when you're older. Right. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Go to YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel at Unpaved Sean Salisbury. Follow him at Sean Unfiltered, myself at Adam G. Sager. Thanks to Bailey and Laura, as always, making us look and sound great. Thanks to all our commenters, listeners, viewers. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk Valentine's Day. We'll continue to talk some more college basketball. We'll get an update on Trinidad Chambliss, and we'll have video from the hearing today of talking about if your wife's pregnant or your significant other's pregnant, you shouldn't sleep in the same bed. Talking about he doesn't snore anymore, so that's going to help him this year reach his NFL dreams if he gets.
Well, we've gone to some unbelievable places, Segs. We're talking about snoring and getting another year of eligibility. And I owe Bailey. I didn't, just to let you know, I didn't leave you hanging on bets last night. I didn't jump all over a game, but the second I know who I'm going to pick, I'll let you know. I don't want to leave our producer hanging. I didn't bet last night, but I was on a roll college hoops. So.
I got worried about my Michigan Wolverines last night. Northwestern
hung in though, didn't you? Yep.
Down 13, I think it was, with 12 minutes left, and then Michigan went on a 40-15 run.
Too much talent, Segs.
Way
too much talent. Yeah.
All right, we'll continue to talk college basketball, football. We got baseball going. We got a bunch of injuries already to big-time players, and it's all having to do with the hand. So we got a lot of broken hands. Hamate bone, Sean. Hamate bone.
Yep.
We'll talk about that tomorrow as well. All right, we'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Unpaved, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.